Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to another Warcraft replay here. This is going to be, once again on the Netease ladder, we have an undead mirror, which is not that very common these days, at least on the channel. And, I mean, come on now. If you're not playing Night Elf, you are almost skimping yourself. As I would say that, I now remember that it was that Keeper nerf, so yeah, hopefully a little bit more balanced, but not in this particular server. Netease is still, I believe, in 1.30.2, which, shake my head, really needs to get into that Keeper nerf. But either way, we have SyDe spawning in as the red undead player on the top left. I have not casted SyDe before at all, and haven't really heard too much of him. Have looked at his history, and he is ranked top 10 in Battlenet, at least on the, I think, Northern server. And yeah, he plays versus a lot of tough opponents, including Grubby, Hawk, Sonic, and all that. So getting top 10 is actually a pretty admirable feat. And of course, he hails from France, which I don't know that many French Warcraft players, at least yeah, in such a coveted position as he is. And we have 120 spawning in as the blue undead player on the top right. Obviously 120, no need for introductions. Possibly the best undead currently, and has been that way for quite some time. I would say 2 years, question mark? I would say maybe 2 years. Maybe? At least that's when I first discovered, or at least heard of 120 during 2017 times. So yeah, it's been quite some time since we had Undead doing very well. So yeah, on paper, SyDe has his work cut out for him, but yeah, obviously this was recommended to me for some reasons, so this is going to be interesting. We have Dreadlord first for SyDe, so this tends to indicate we are going to see that mass ghoul opening, which obviously already 4 or 5 ghouls onto the field. Seems to be a pretty good guess. Death Knight for 120, so it looks to be pretty standard here with a TED opening with a actually no, it's a very early graveyard, so not TED opening. We have a crypt after before that third ghoul, so yeah, very interesting there. Going to abuse those 2 crypt fiends with a very nice easy clear on this over was it Magic Camp? Warrior Camp. +6 claws gets picked up for the DK, and that is going to be very helpful for the eventual Lich that would possibly be making his appearance here. I was gonna say, Undead Mirrors tends to be Lich first centered, but I guess that has kind of shied away over these past few years. Dreadlord, with that sleep ability, is going to take advantage of that and take down this gold camp very early on. So extremely early expansion here from the undead player, and very unorthodox, since undeads generally don't like expanding. They like all-inning if their economy runs out, and obviously that is going to be very different this time around. Renegade Wizard Camp is going to get cleared out by the Dreadlord, and he is going to be very close to that level 3. That is the benefit of taking 2 hard camps in a row. Death Knight, on the other hand, is going to clear out the marketplace and pick himself up the full Invuln potion. And he too will actually get very close to that level 3. That is the benefit of taking the marketplace camp, at least. 5 pretty beefy creep camps, pretty beefy creep critters, or monsters, whichever, has that benefit. And the Dreadlord will be able to hit that level 3 after this camp here, and he will probably get improve his sleep, maybe, as he picks up Vampiric Aura second. Well, honestly, the Dreadlord could theoretically get Carrion Storm third as well, since ever since the change on the improved mana costs as well as the ability to hit mechanical units, Carrion Swarm has been a viable option, but I would imagine it's going to be level 2 sleep, since Dreadlord would most likely mind his mana costs quite a bit. Death Knight is going to hit that level 3 thanks to the Murloc camp being sniped by those Crypt Fiends there, and Mass Ghouls versus Mass Crypt Fiends so far. Obviously Skeletons have to be added to the mix on both sides as well, as the expansion has been spotted by 120, so he is kind of pressured right now because he will be eventually outnumbered if SyDe plays this right. Since he is going Mass Ghouls, he is going to have a lot more units in the first place. Second Crypt is being placed down for himself as well, so again, like I said, he is looking to outnumber his opponents. Interesting Dark Ranger second for 120. He is I would imagine looking to swarm his opponent with the black arrows, since ghouls are fairly easy to take down. Maybe the numbers might actually I don't know, fight against him later on, but it's a very weird pick for a second hero. I would imagine Lich would be a lot nicer pick, since Frost Nova would do a very good amount of utility against these ghouls, not only damaging but also slowing and preventing the eventual mass ghoul surrounds that we will be seeing in this game. But Dark Ranger second is... I have to keep my eye on that because I'm not too sure about that. She has plus 12 in terms of claws, as well as the plus 2 from the circlets, so she is gonna hurt a lot, and those ghouls are going to not appreciate black arrows constantly coming down on them. But with Lifesteal Aura, I imagine those ghouls are going to have improved survivability, and once they get Frenzy, obviously, they will be able to just run a lot easier. Murlocs are going to be dropping, and that with the black arrows applied is going to spawn a couple of skeletons for the Dark Ranger. Is going after those acolytes there. Spirit Tower, Nubian Tower is not too much DPS as one acolyte already falls, but this is not looking good for 120. His Crypt Fiends are slowly being DPS down, and SyDe, I would imagine, would very much like this fight. His ghouls heavily outnumber his opponents, but they are going in for the flank, however. One Crypt Fiend going down to very low health as a sleep is going to be cast onto the DK. Very nicely done there, and that is going to go one Crypt Fiend down. Sleep constantly being cast onto that Death Knight. Dark Ranger does have level 2, so I'd imagine Silence is the option, and there we go, Silence has been cast. Death Knight is now awake, wide up and awake. Silence is still on that Dreadlord, so the Death Coil is going to be nicely saving that Crypt Fiend. But yet again, these ghouls not being handled too greatly is going to fell yet another Crypt Fiend. Dark Ranger is doing as best she can there with the constant black arrows, and Silence is being cast, but she is going to run out of mana very soon. As I say, that Obsidian Statue is going to be popping in to join the fight, as ghoul numbers not looking that generous for SyDe. As I say that, a surround onto the Dark Ranger. Sleep has been cast onto the DK. Will be able to wake up in time? The Dreadlord actually doesn't have enough mana to chain that sleep, so Dark Ranger is going to live for now, as these skeletons are slowly turning the tides here with their numbers. A couple of level 1 skeletons, level 2 skeletons as well, but we still have a good number of ghouls available, and another surround onto the Dark Ranger there. Death Coil is going to be cast as the sleep a little bit too late, and probably won't matter too much as the Death Knight still has more Death Coils available. But if this keeps going, the Death Knight is going to run out of mana very soon. He needs to get into there and give her that TP scroll, otherwise all these Death Coils are going to be for naught. A couple of ghouls already been taken down, and the DK finally gets into range and transfers over that TP scroll, and he actually picks up a ghoul for himself as well. So very fruitful on both sides. Obviously plenty of ghoul corpses on the ground, but at the same time, I mean, like, so many Crypt Fiends have also been taken down as well, so pretty good for both sides. 120 was expanding during this whole time, so the economy has been kind of evened up. But army comps, I would say, probably favors 120 since he can eventually get himself those air units. SyDe did get into tier 2 and is going to tier 3 straight away for that frenzy upgrade. But yeah, I would imagine once the destroyers get onto the field, those ghouls are going to be toast. Unless of course SyDe just makes so many ghouls that 1 or 2 destroyers can't actually deal with them, and yeah, we'll just kill the rest of the ground units there. Dreadlord is distracting the main army right now, as we do see a big blob of red going straight after that gold mine. Black Citadel very close to being completed, so I would imagine even if these acolytes get taken down, I don't think the Black Citadel will be cancelled here, so let's see how it happens. TP Scroll is going to be channeled here as the ghouls are still going after those acolytes, which I'm not sure if is a wise decision. Oh yikes, SyDe unable to take down that second acolyte, as the Death Coil is going to heal him up very quickly. Oh, SyDe is going to lose that ghoul. Is the ghoul going to live? Nope, the SyDe is, or one of the ghouls are going to deny it. Honestly, I would have thought that ghoul would have actually lived, but considering there was a Basilian statue actually making its way, he could have easily turned around and killed it, so yeah, just quick decisive judgments here from SyDe, as Dreadlord trying to harass with his skeletons, but honestly not going to find too much success. Ghouls once again going for another attack here, as will he be able to get too much out of this? Black Citadel is already completed, so taking on these acolytes only costs 120 like 70 gold. TP Staff is going to be cast by the Dreadlord, and he is going to join this fight. But here comes 120 with his army just walking with their own 2 feet, or 4 feet, right? Sleep cast onto the Dark Ranger, but the TP Scroll is going to be used instead. So I'd imagine SyDe not getting too much out of this, but I guess he is just distracting his opponent for these babies to actually get into gear. So we are going up to 4 crypts for SyDe. He is going to be able to replenish his units very quickly, and Frenzy is on the way, and I would imagine that is going to make 120's life a lot more hellish, as yeah, I mean honestly can't outrun those ghouls, can't chase those ghouls, so yeah, what can you do? Lich is finally out, but honestly, level 1 Lich is a lot more vulnerable than 120 might think. Is going to be given all the damage items from the Dark Ranger, but I mean, this is just a true example of a glass cannon. Death Knight gets that ton of experience and getting himself that level 5, which is going to be pretty important for that very juicy Death Coil there. TP Scroll is going to be cast as the Dreadlord with a couple of ghouls here. Is going to try and harass more ghouls coming in on the second base. Dreadlord, he is going to get taken down. He was silenced, but I'm not sure if silence actually prevents TP Scrolls from being used. Either way, that was a big blunder there from our red undead player, as he is going to take down a couple of the acolytes. 2 TP Scrolls in a row from 120, so at least he is gonna make his opponent use so much, a lot of gold to try and defend both fronts. But yeah, losing that Dreadlord was probably a mistake. Alright, Dreadlord back here thanks to the tavern, but with no mana and no health, I really can't see how much use he can be. He does have a mana pot if he wants to join the fight straight away, but I mean, here comes the fight. We have a good number of Crypt Fiends on the field and no destroyers still, which is a bit odd. We do have Destroyer form upgrade. Are those ghouls +3 armor? Oh, they're +3 attack and +1 armor. Okay. They are going to do a lot once they surround a specific unit. Silence has been cast on the Dreadlord, so he's unable to sleep the DK for that opportune moment, but the Dark Ranger is being chased by the Dreadlord and is going to fall, giving level 5 over to the Dreadlord there. So once again, Another mishap, but this time on the side of 120. Losing himself that Dark Ranger very quickly without even healing is going to be devastating, as we might even see the Death Knight being taken out. No, it's going to be the Lich. He is going to be surrounded and sleep onto the Death Knight. The Lich is going to follow very, very soon. And following suit might potentially be the Death Knight there, but with the TB Skull, it's not that juicy of a target. Instead, is going to wipe the floor against these Crypt Fiends, who, I mean, can definitely be healed up, but it's just not going to be enough. Death Knight having way too many targets to heal, and the ghouls just simply need to turn around and go for the other one. So, yeah, very nicely done by SyDe, turning it around here. And crucially, he is very, very close to that level 6. Infernals would be a lot of help here because they can actually just soak up the damage as well as deal the damage themselves. Obviously, it's not a threat, not an answer to these destroyers, who will be eventually massing up in units, but yeah, at least these ground units are going to be screwed. SyDe just needs one more kill for that level 6, but is he going to be able to get it? Yep, there we go. Nice Acolyte kill there. Is going to give that Infernal. Will we see it? Will we see an Infernal coming down? I guess he's waiting for a good grouping, but these ghouls are just making quick work out of these Crypt Fiends, so he's not going to find that many units to actually get an Inferno down on. Deathcore there able to heal up the Crypt Fiend. And there we go, Infernal is going to finally drop down, going after those ghouls, as the ghouls of SyDe is just going to chase down these Crypt Fiends. Nowhere left to run, they are cornered, and a late Deathcore there is going to be the end of that single Crypt Fiend. You can see Infernal actually soaking up the damage of those Spirit Towers, which could definitely be targeted against those ghouls, so acting as a pretty good tank there. We do hear the Dark Ranger being revived, but to be honest, what can she do by herself and the DK? She's just gonna get surrounded and bursted down yet again. So, yeah, this is not looking good for our blue undead player here. Death Knight is gonna get sleep surrounded. He does have Deep Scroll if he wants it, and is going to use it. Is gonna be cast at the very close Necropolis. So, obviously he doesn't want to retreat just quite yet, but it seems that his opponent actually chooses to retreat instead. 3 destroyers in the air. I mean, there's a lot of ghouls to try and fend off against, but I mean, yeah, SyDe is just going to be a little cautious and a lot safe, as does split off with a couple of ghouls and is going to redirect his other forces to maybe the main base. I don't know. 120 actually caught wind of this, so not much success is going to be found. Dreadlord trying to get that level 7. I'm not sure if it's going to be even worth it with that for that level 3 Vampiric Aura, but he is going after those Acolytes. Is the Deathcore going to come in? Nope. Acolyte does fall, but the Dreadlord needs yet another another Acolyte to get that level 7. Deathcore is going to make that a pipe dream, as yeah, ghouls retreating back. What are we making? We are making gargoyles instead. So a nice switch transition here into gargoyles. Clearly, the mass ghoul threat has kind of made 120 a little anxious and making more Crypt Fiends. He's focusing a lot more on statues and destroyers. So this very, very intuitive switch is going to catch 120 very, very off guard. Not to mention, SyDe still has plenty of ghouls available, so even if he wants to deal with these gargoyle threats with his Crypt Fiends, they are still going to have to deal with these ghouls as well. So this looks like a pretty good rush kind of army comp. Just go in and out as very quickly as possible. And yeah, for now, SyDe does have the element of surprise because his opponent has yet to discover these gargoyles, but at least, I mean, it should at least be in the back of his mind, since gargoyles still get made by the same building as those ghouls. So here we go, gargoyles are going to go straight after those destroyers here. Only a single Crypt Fiend? Do we even have a single Crypt Fiend? We have 1 Crypt Fiend on the field. Is it going to be enough? Infernal is going to drop against that Death Knight, Dark Ranger, but she is able to get out of that surround. very, very quickly. Lich, on the other hand, however, doesn't have that luxury. He does have invuln. He will be able to use it very soon. Is going to get death coiled, sleep onto the DK, and the Lich is going to retreat. Gargos going straight after those destroyers here, as yeah, this does not look good. Death Knight, does he have a TP scroll available? He does not, and he is going to get quickly bursted down here. And a GG from 120 as we have SyDe just able to rush his opponent down. And we don't have a score screen somehow. Surely it's here, right? Okay, there we go. Score screen. That was a pretty action-packed game, I would say. 120 didn't really convince me with that Dark Ranger, to be honest. Could have definitely been turned into a panda or something of the sort. It just didn't seem that effective. Sure, you could summon skeletons, but I mean, yeah, I really can't imagine the Dark Ranger finding time to dish out the DPS without having to worry about being surrounded herself. So, nicely played by SyDe. I look forward to his next game, whenever that's going to be. He doesn't play on Netease that much, but either way, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys again next time.